In the last video, we did the hard parts of the bumper, or the bumper backing at least. In this video, we're going to do the soft parts of the bumper. So again, I don't think we need anything from the chassis, so we'll go right to the template file. We have some visibility. There we go. So instead of doing the top view, we're actually going to do the front view first, or the cross section. So we go right plane and make a sketch. So beginning of the soft parts is going to be our pool noodles. So we got two circles to represent that. We're going to make these equal in size, tangent to each other, and vertical above each other. So now this moves around. We also know that the pool noodles are about 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches in diameter. But again, that's a parameter we can tune. So now we need to stick these to this bumper backing. Tangent that there. And we want to get it about even with center line. So we'll go from this midpoint here to this point here and just make that horizontal. So that'll put us in the right place. All right, so that's our noodles. Just call that noodles. And we could extrude that. You could either go in and make it a solid, or extrude it all the way around this way. But that's kind of a pain to do because you have to copy the sketch like 3 or 4 times in order to do that. So I'm going to skip the noodles because we can't see them anyway. Instead, I'm going to do the fabric that goes around the outside. And we'll start with just a sketch on the right plane where we bring in, actually we don't need to bring this in. We'll bring in these, we'll convert entities, and then we can connect this to here, this to here, this to here. And again, I'm going over the plywood because we're going to make this the fabric. The fabric's going to extend over the plywood. We could have a gap in the back. I'm not going to model that right now. I'm just going to model it as though it's contiguous. And this is one of the very few times when I will say it is good to use the trim tool. We converted this from another sketch, so there's no way that we're going to break the geometry when we do this because it knows where it's from. Cut this, cut this. So I'm using the power trim, so when you drag a line through something, let me undo and we'll show that again. So trim entities, you drag a line, and when you cross over another line, it trims it to its 2 nearest neighbors, so it trimmed it to here and there. Same thing again, I'll trim this one. And again, nothing happens to the geometry because this is coming from that noodle sketch. Anyway, so that's what we got here. Let's call this the fabric. And we could leave it there. Let me edit this, show you this. You could leave it there, but we can also do an offset just to show what the fabric actually looks like. So I'm going to do this, 30 thousandths of an inch, 0.03 is about what that fabric measures, I believe. So now we can see it in there. All right. So this is going to be the fabric, fabric cross section, but we need to make a fabric top view now. So we'll go on the top plane, we'll make a sketch. And we're actually going to make it the same way as we had before, just that sort of that inner. So we'll go around on the outside here We're not going to bother with that 30 thou offset just yet. Okay. This line here and this line here. Oh, probably be this point here. Nope. This line here and this point here. There we go. Make that coincident. So that sets our distance out. And for the rest of these, we can just center line across here. We got this line is equal to this line is equal to this line. Equal. That makes 1/2 of the bumper. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then just for kicks so we can see it, actually going to come over and offset. I could just do this way. You can see we're offsetting this outward, but I'm going to make that construction geometry. The offset geometry will be construction. So you'll note that this won't update with the other thing. But if we delete this dimension here, now you can move these. You can set them to any size you want. And then if you do that, then you can pick this up and make that coincident so it'll update with this other sketch. All right. So that's our sort of bumper elevation here. Or not bumper elevation, bumper top view. Bumper fabric top view. And just like the bumper backing, we're going to extrude it. It's only going to be 2 pieces instead of the 6 of the bumper backing because we don't care about separating these out. So let's do it. We'll go make a new file, new part. In the new part, we will insert our template part again. We need to make sure unabsorbed sketches and planes are in there. We probably don't even need planes. All right, and of our sketches, these 2 are the important ones. So we're going to start with this one, and we're going to extrude. And the same way that we did before, we'll pick this as our starting vertex down here. And we will pick up to vertex, and we'll pick this one. I picked the inner ones for both of these, and you'll see why in a bit. So we got it. It's going to give us 2 bodies. 1 body, 2 body. And that's good. So our next step on this is we want to fillet these. So we'll come around, we'll hit each of these edges. You can fillet right through a face if it knows what you're looking for. Oop, missed one. See? Right there. Oh, yeah, it's only going to let us fillet 1 body at a time. That makes sense. And for our radius, it's going to be half of what the bumpers were. And there are ways to link this. I'm not going to get into that right this second. 1.25. We will do a second fillet feature where we will hit all of the radii, all the outer radii on this other body. Okay, so this is not the size of the fabric, right? Because we added that additional, 0.03 inches. But that's where we can do something really clever. Click on one of these bodies and click shell. And we're going to shell this outward by 0.03 inches. You'll see, let me exaggerate this for a moment. We go 0.3. That it sort of bulks up the entire part. If you look at the side view, you'll see that it's getting bigger. If you go down to 0.03 like it's supposed to be, there you go. And we will do the same thing on this other one. We will shell that part outward, 0.03, show preview. Looks right. The other thing about this is if you do a section view, you'll see that this is actually hollow. So if I go to the front plane, for instance, and I do a section view, that's this button up here, you can see inside. So it is just that 0.03 inch thick shell. Now we got our bumper, sort of our bumper soft part perimeter. We can save this. Bumper soft parts. And we can go into the drive base, just like before. Insert bumper soft parts. There we go. Just regular shaded. And there you go. And if you go back into bumper soft parts, one of the things that's interesting to note is that just like on actual bumpers, you add thickness to the side of the bumper as well. So that's why it's important to make this gap not close all the way up. So we add thickness there, we add thickness to the back here, so we start to fill this gap between the frame perimeter and the bumpers. And we add thickness to the outside too. And so if, again, we had an intake that was depending on there being a very specific thickness here, we would have modeled that. So there we go.